Welcome to the Never Been Promoted podcast, where we're all about helping you cut the tie to all that holds you back. The excuses, the fears, the people, that sense of entitlement. Cut the ties so you can unleash your inner entrepreneur. Your host, Thomas Helfrich, is on a mission to make more entrepreneurs in the world and make them better at entrepreneurship.
Hey, welcome. Never Been Promoted. Hi, I'm your host, Thomas Helfrich. Today, we're going to be talking about AI content marketing and how you might not be the right person to do it. Maybe the robot should do it. This is going to be a fun, heated discussion full of circuitry, algorithms, and a touch of coffee. Why? Because coffee's delicious. The other stuff I'm not so sure about. Hey, we're on a mission here at Never Been Promoted to help you get better at entrepreneurship. We're doing this through the stories and teachings and learning from other entrepreneurs. See, to become a good entrepreneur, to become an entrepreneur, you have to cut the tie to the shit that's holding you back. That's right. I said a bad word. I don't think shit's actually a bad word at this point. It's on TV. But the truth is you really need to do that. And to become successful as an entrepreneur, you're going to find all these little things in life that are holding you back. Excuses, the fears, the senses of entitlement, even just maybe some people in your life. You got to be prepared to let that go so you can unleash. Today, we have a guest that's going to be talking about this AI content. But before you do, go to youtube.com. If you can, jump on there. It's fun. It's a good place to be. And go ahead and look for the idea that says Never Been Promoted. Also check out neverbeenpromoted.com. Both of those places are awesome places to get content and stay up to date because we go live a lot and we have a lot of content coming out this fall. So enough shameless promotion. Let's go and let's go grab somebody here. Let's go grab Mr. Richard McBeath. How are you, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. You're the co-founder. I don't want to take away from your founder, but clearly they're too lazy to come on the show today. So we're going to say you're the founder, co-founder of Captain Content. You guys really focus a lot on the AI stuff, don't you? It's kind of fun.
Yeah, we sort of drifted into that. Yeah, we didn't. We do now. Best friends with the robots.
Oh, you should. And I know you have an accent. It sounds like maybe Alabama, New Orleans.
That's right. Yeah, just a little further south, down there in Sydney, Australia.
And where do you live in LA now?
Yeah. I've been here for like 10 years.
Do you feel like you just need to follow the most expensive real estate and rental communities possible and say, you know what, I don't think this is expensive enough?
Man, it's funny because I spent 4 years in Dubai before coming here. And then, and then shot into LA and I thought Dubai was expensive and LA is just taking the cake.
You know, you can move to like a St. Louis, Missouri and spend like $1,500 to get 4 bedrooms and probably an acre.
Yeah. Am I welcome in that? Am I welcome there?
You're definitely welcome there. No one will talk to you, but you'll be welcome there. They won't recognize your Alabama accent.
Oh, man,
like, that guy's from the South, I think.
Nothing new then. That's what I get here as well.
Really? That's crazy. You know what? You should tell them you work in AI and you're not afraid to use it.
That's right. My flex.
What's your AI flex? All right. Listen. Okay. So tell me something about Captain or Content Captain. What, give me the 1 minute on it. Back up a little on how you guys formed it, and then let's get into like why it's different. So start with just kind of the pitch on it, and then back up how you guys kind of got that built.
Yeah. So I mean, the pitch on it is that like marketing is hard, and I think that like AI is actually even harder, and meshing the two together has been a real challenge. And I think when people first think of like AI and marketing, they think of like blog articles, marketing itself has, it's got so many sort of strings attached to that sort of bow. And what Captain is setting out to do is like combine the robots with content marketing across like all of those touch points, from everything from like social to web, cross channel. So looking at different media types like audio, imagery, video, text, and looking at ways that we can like automate that process. We're not entirely about eliminating the human race. That they're still required to get things done. But for us, we're just optimizing on quality. So how do we make like AI content quality, insightful, real, humanized, and put that on sort of like some like autopilot?
We'll get into the weeds a bit. That I still am going to take that it's very dangerous to automate. So automation and AI are different things. Everyone, I will repeat that too many times. They are separate technologies completely. One may use the other and the other may use the other as well. So automation may work based on an AI recommendation. AI may automate based on its own recommendation or just a process like, hey, it's been told as a algorithm to do something like write and then caption, like write. That's an automation of forms. Putting those two things together, though, when content and your brand's involved, really puckers up the old butthole a little bit on me. I'll tell you, it goes like that. Like I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do that. Get me. I cannot imagine that's not one of your major objections. Price aside, because it's value, it's all there. It should be there. Because if you can do it, awesome. But man, how do you get me unpuckered on that one?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not about sort of like automation doesn't mean that it needs to be sent out into the wild without touching it, without seeing it, without doing anything. There's just parts of the process that can be automated. So you can automatically conduct research. Okay, good example. So our engine, like on Captain, will automatically go out into Google and research a topic that you're going to create content on. So it heads out into Google and it essentially, like as you would as a human, you go in and you type in different search phrases to find information and data and insights and statistics around a specific topic, like that you're researching for. Historically, you needed to do that like manually. Now we've sort of automated that process. So we automatically pull in all of that research and all of that information. So then you can select what you want to include in the content. So there's a number of sort of like elements to automation and AI, but I don't think it's about saying like turn it on, set it, forget it, walk away. Like your brand is all okay with being taken by the robots. Not at all. We're just not there yet. But certain elements, just with automation and AI, it can be done.
So it's more about getting the content. Okay, so let's walk through a use case. We have an agency. So go through a marketing agency that focuses on website development. Let's say like the use case. Take me through the use case of how they use a tool and a technology like yours.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, I mean, first and foremost, like as any business or brand, like you want to establish what your strategy is, like what your marketing strategy is. And in order to do that, you need to look at a number of different factors, but very much around like what your products and services are. So what is it that you're offering consumers, and then build your strategy off the back of that. Now, Captain basically automates this, and I'll explain that. So as a new user, you would come into Captain, you would put your website URL into Captain. Captain then automatically goes off into your domain, into your website, scrapes all the content, so pulls everything together, then automatically analyzes all your products, your services, your brand tone of voice to understand sort of who you are and what you offer. And then from that, it then looks at what topics you could cover or discuss or create content around that are related to your products and services. So that's sort of like an automated process. And with Captain, it will sort of like map out, first and foremost, that strategy. Then the next thing is obviously to execute on that strategy. So now you want to start creating content around those topics that are related to your business. And that's where sort of like Captain also steps in to say, right, you've now agreed with us, the robots, that these topics are like on point. Let's now start to create content. So as I mentioned, it goes out into Google and it researches the different sort of finds insights and research around these different topics, pulls that into Captain, and allows you to make sure that everything lines up. All the sources that are going to be included are legitimate and real. And then you can click because like AI, it's like, it was one of the, and I know I'm sort of like jumping around, but when we started using AI as a tool for ourselves and our own business initially, what we found was you go in and you tell it to do something. And it was almost like when you tell AI to do something, it's almost like an order that it cannot say no to. So if you went into, AI and said, I don't know, create me some content about, I don't know, the population of like Los Angeles, right? And it would say, essentially take that as like, it has to come back with content around the population of Los Angeles. But even if it doesn't know it, It's going to tell you that it does. So it became known as like the best bullshitter on planet Earth, because it was like, yep, population of Los Angeles is 100 million people, 104.6 million people. And it's like, oh, according to what?
It's counting all the illegal people that are there, just to be clear. Like, it's non-sensitive data.
So with AI, we had this real problem that we were trying to create content, and it was pulling in like erroneous data and stats and research. So for us, we needed to solve for that, which is why we built that automated like research engine. So AI is really just the brains around pulling all these bits and pieces together to create a narrative. And I often, like when I'm speaking to people around sort of the power of AI, I use the analogy of a chef, right? Like a chef is like, if you give a chef 0 ingredients, so essentially like 0 inputs, 0 ingredients, and tell that chef to like make you this incredible dish, like you just want something amazing, 0 ingredients. Like the chef is highly likely going to come back with like dog's dinner, right? Like a bland, boring, shitty dish. But if you give the chef all these ingredients, all these different inputs, in our case, research, insights, all that, you feed it with all this rich information, or you give it all the ingredients, the chef's going to come back with something amazing. So the chef in this instance is taking like taking the ingredients or the information and turning it into something amazing. And I think that I think so many people get this wrong when they look at AI and content. They think that they can come in and essentially they can come into the engine, or they can go to the chef and ask the chef in a different way to make that beautiful dish without giving it like the chef any additional.
Yeah. Well, you're telling it to make a steak dinner and giving it lamb.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm trying to dress it up, and you didn't give me anything else to go with it. The idea with AI, I think in particular, is really good, at least in my opinion, right? When like you're asking it strategic questions, and specifically around like, hey, how does this math work with this part of the business, and what strategy could I do to reduce cost, and or looking at an offer and saying, hey, what would my buyer be concerned about if they are this? And so when you put all that data into what you're doing in your tool and your technology that you guys have, are you putting in, hey, here's our goals, here's our strategies, here's how we feel about this, never talk about that? Do you put all this stuff in as a preloaded?
Yeah.
If I was writing it, I would never and always and these, and I'll try to use, wry humor where appropriate. Like, is that the stuff that comes into it, and then it goes out and gets proper research and then validation?
Yeah. So when you're like on board to the product, and like this is talking captain, it should be any sort of solution AI. Like we first define the business's like goals, like objectives, the problem solution that they're solving, the brand's tone. And this is all again like automatically collected, but gives you the opportunity or the ability to tweak it and change it. So again, everything is about the input. So it needs to be aligned with again the brand's product, services, mission, vision, brand tone, and look, it does a really amazing job at getting you to kicking you far down the path. But like, do I feel that like any AI sort of content tool on earth it gets you like to the finish line? Like, no. Do we? Like, no. But we certainly, I think we do a pretty damn good job of getting you pretty close.
I think a good metaphor in that is, right, you need to train for the marathon. Mm-hmm. It'll just run 25.6 of the miles. You got to run the last mile, but you still got to train for it.
Exactly.
So you got to get ready. You got to be ready to run at any point. But if you trained well enough and you enter the race and you say, okay, I go do it. I'm going to finish it though, so I can cross the line. You're the last mile. On yours though, like let's say we have this YouTube. This is live right now, right? And what can I do with something like this? If this is my first piece of content, and this is how we generate a lot of the content I have for LinkedIn and other places, and newsletters. How do I take a video, which is the canonical source of that, which everything we say in this is effectively true because it's what we're saying. So whatever we're being quoted in this is up to us. GPT or AI or whatever else can leverage it and say, hey, they said that. How do I use a piece of video content, audio, whatever transcription into what you're doing?
It's awesome. It's almost like we've pre-prepared these questions, but I know
we did. No, I mean, I'm completely prepared for this. I spent days getting ready for this. I am embarrassed that you have not. I mean, you're going solo mode.
You're basically, you're prompting me. So what's exciting is for that specific example you've just given is a feature of Captain where you could actually just like paste in the YouTube URL or upload the MP4, MP3, add the link to the podcast into Captain, and it will essentially automatically transcribe this entire thing. And depending on sort of like, well, the topic of the discussion, which was around, AI content marketing, it will pull specific quotes from this entire transcription, and it will insert that into the actual like final written piece of content. So it'll know that it's like a quote from you, and it will quote you, it will quote me. It might paraphrase this. It'll then, if we've conducted third-party like research, Google research, automated Google research, it'll layer on top any sort of like any insights that we've collected from third-party sources. So then you've got sort of like, we've got quotes from you, we've got quotes from me, we've got third-party research, and actually the third piece of the pie that we've built out is an ability to actually like send anyone a link around what around the campaign or the topic of the content that you're creating. So you can just generate a link. I could send it to you and say, "Hey Tom, we're creating a campaign about like the power of podcasting, right? Would love to get your perspective." And on that, you'll click that link and you'll literally just record your thoughts, feelings, perspective, experience. The minute you finish, that's sent back into Captain and it's automatically transcribed. And once again, it'll take like Thomas's quotes and inject that into the content. So
it's making blog articles as the end product of this.
So that's like, I'd probably say it's like 20% of the product. So yeah, a blog article is certainly like what we refer to as like the anchor piece of content. So that's like the long form piece of content that has like all the juice, all the details in it. And then it starts to get repurposed. So it gets repurposed into a handful of different assets. And I'll just cover the exciting ones, but like obviously like social posts, newsletter, it gets turned into a downloadable like infographic. So it'll be like a branded infographic. So it turns it into like, it creates an image that goes with using AI, creates an image.
Let me jump in on that one just a second. So it's going to create a bunch of stuff. So my canonical is going to be this. So I'm going to do this afterwards. You're going to give me a free download because I have shiny object syndrome, and I'll sign up for a whole year, which is what you want. But then I'll be like, oh, I need my money back because I didn't use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a video. I'm going to download this when we're done. So so part of it when you have, so this is what I'm going to jump in back to this graphics thing. But what I'm hearing, which is awesome, is I can actually then take this content knowing that I'm going to use a technology like this to set it up so it can work better. So I'll be like, hey, Richard, can you tell me for Content Captain, what are the 5 main things you need to do? And you're going to say it. It's going to make its way into your content because it's going to pick those up as a listicle of some sort, something very important. Yeah. And so I can say, hey, I think this next topic is very important. AI will pick up on those words and you'll be like, yeah, it's very important because, and you blah, 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 and it goes and does it. So when you record your content you could do it in a way knowing that downstream, it'll influence how things are written. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to take this, I upload it. One thing I have a question on is what you just described, Infomatic. Let's say I needed a 1-page sales deck on a new service line. This is actually a true scenario going on now. We have a new service line for Instantly Relevant where we verify guys like you and other agencies' ability to do what it is you say you can do. Would I be able to kind of read off the benefits, what it is, and it would come back with some type of visual on that?
The benefits of your product, you mean?
Yeah, it's a new product service. Could I say, hey, this is the pricing plan, This is what you get? Would it be able to kind of create that 1-page sales sheet for me of some sort?
Yeah. That's the idea. Is that essentially you can sort of plug into Captain your desired content output around a specific topic, whether it's a new product launch. So we have a campaign type around like company announcements, it's called. And if you have like a new product launch or you've hit a milestone or you've made a new hire, whatever it is, you can enter that like into Captain. In fact, like if you want to provide the details around it, you don't want to enter like write it in or whatever it is, you can just click, talk, just chat to Captain. Like, look, we're launching this new product. The benefits are, you can be borderline incoherent and AI Captain will literally.
Yeah, it does a good job. It does a good job for us ADD folks. It's like,
yeah, that was directed at you. No, it was so.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I was reading something else. What did you say? Just kidding. No, my point is like when I see a tool like this, and then it's like, hey, here's your video, and when it's doing it, like I could be like, can I give it inputs? Like you want to tie it all together, right? Here's the video, here's the original link for it, whatever else, right? And it's like you want to say, hey, see the full interview here. Social media posts anchors back to the blog, and it goes, hey, here's the video here, the social media, if you want to read the whole story, some other insights and some infographics. The point is it kind of creates the whole set, of which then you're saying, guys, this is a great start. Team, go add your images. Team, go. You have standard call to actions. It'll do like tell me how much I guess the long question is, where does a human come in? What's the lift to finish typically on, let's say for a content campaign that goes social, video, it's got some audio components, it has all this stuff together. How much human is still involved with that after?
So definitely like it's pretty much like the review process, right? Or the editing process, I'd say. So once you've established that the topic, there's a specific topic you want to create content around, which, Captain has also provided you with, this content calendar, and you can change and update it however you like, but it is based on your products and services and businesses. You'll click to create, it'll create all this content. So it automatically creates, like the article, the social post, the newsletter, it creates the infographic. We haven't got onto the podcast, the fully automated monologue dialogue podcast that it creates yet. And this is probably my favorite feature, but it will create this whole suite of sales and marketing assets. It's then for you to go in and just be like, right, let's make sure that it's like, it's on brief, it's on brand, it's, cross the T's, dot the I's sort of thing. You can publish it all from Captain directly. So you can publish it to your website, to your social accounts. And then you brought up sort of like the next step, which is, like now you've published it to your site. You need to make sure that there's like calls to action. So the reason you're publishing content is obviously to sell like a product or service. So at least get somebody from that content to a destination. Like I haven't come across a time where it's typically just a case of, I don't know, this is just all, feel good, just wanted to blurt it out. So,
we do a lot of content where I don't ask for anything. It's to get people to say, hey, I like reading that guy's stuff. Yeah. And you hit them it's more of the Alex Hormozy approach, right? You might hit them on the 10th one to say, hey, here's something, go check it out, to do that. Yeah. When you guys are doing this, you can apply this to any industry, but is either be like a solo, someone just starting out to a, Coca-Cola could use your guys' stuff to help work through things. But for you, every company's got a niche down, you got to create a monopoly without creating one, right? Who do you focus on? Are you helping agencies to do their stuff better for their people? Or are you helping small business? Because the problem I see in your company is it could be applied anywhere. And that's tough. So you got to go, who's buying? And so who do you guys focus on specifically in this?
That is the problem.
It is. And I have another follow-up, but I'm not going to slam you with it yet.
It's hard. Like this is our biggest challenge right now in the business is identifying like our ideal customer profile or our ICP, because what we see at Captain is everyone you've just mentioned. So we see like, either it's like solopreneurs or consultants that are leveraging it, or like the mom and pop shop down the road that we've got HVAC companies that use it. And then we've got the like multi-billion-dollar public companies that are leveraging it. And we've also got like agencies. So agencies that are essentially like, using it for all of their clients. So it's like, it's without a doubt our biggest challenge right now. Is like, where do we focus?
If you only knew a company, instantly relevant, this is what we do. We help you with that. So we'll take that offline. I'll help you focus that in because that problem, by the way, the reason I could spot that is because I deal with this all the time, is that when you have a great product or service that's applicable everywhere, and you're looking at if the sky was your market, all of a sudden you're just like occasionally a raindrop falls down and falls in your bucket. And you're like, I have no idea why that raindrop fell here. You're like, I don't know where to go invest my time, money, or ads because it just seems they seem to fall out of the cracks and find us, which is an inbound strategy and it's very hard to do attribution. But when you go own a certain space and like specifically, and not the solution what your guys' answer is, but typically you want to find some group that already is talking to hundreds each. So agency, marketing consultants are great ones because then they're like, they're talking to marketing departments, and it's like those are the people that end up using it, but you're talking to maybe 100 that can touch 10,000, right?
Yeah.
And then that way you just go after them, and they're like, oh hell yeah, affiliate program done, it's in, and then you got your traction.
I mean, it's interesting
you got to focus on that. That's the hard part.
That is, and that was one of the insights that we had, right? So we basically came out of, say, like closed beta in October, end of October last year. But it was a product that we built in-house for ourselves initially. And we were like hitting up brands directly to start with. So knocking on doors, saying to the brands, this is what we got. And they're like, oh shit, this is awesome. Like, we love this. Speak to our agency, our growth consultant, our fractional CMO. And then we go speak to them and they're like, oh man, this is epic. Can I use this for my other clients? So it was like obvious light bulb moment, right? Not really light bulb. It's just like, well, yeah, this is great. Like, this is immediate distribution. So network effect sort of thing. So we ended up like white labeling the platform for agencies, because they can then offer it as a product to their clients, their customers, which has worked well for us. But again, we just continue to see, we'll see that there's like a trend at the moment with like I said, service-based businesses, specifically in like plumbing and HVAC and tilers, and these businesses that I wouldn't have in a million years imagined to have been like potential customers. But it's easy. I mean, you mentioned it before, like shiny object syndrome. And I think every founder is guilty of it consistently, right? Is that you sniff an opportunity over here and you start running, and then all of a sudden you're in sort of the no man's land, and there's signs going every single way. Right. So I think that we're like, we've got an amazing product and we've got like incredible customers, but we are still just trying to determine like who is that. And
as you're listening to this, people, entrepreneurs, soon to be entrepreneurs out there, this is a real problem. It's a good problem to face, where you have something, it's really good. And here's the challenge. And this is the follow-up question I had with yours was, GPT 5.0 could nuke your entire company potentially. And if you're using anything like that, they are looking at what people do and how they leverage it to be more efficient and effective. And you've seen every iteration of this. So, one of the value usually is in the elegant solutioning of the latest and greatest of OpenAI, just from a LLM model, and then the other things it connects with, right? Because if you could put it into one spot, which, we do video, we do this, that, you start making it easier for people to use these technologies in one place. It doesn't matter what the latest is, because it's harder to do it there. And so how are you guys battling, I guess, that? Because, until you find your niche, then you're at risk of the next model just kind of wiping out everybody. Yeah. And it's So what are you guys doing to battle that, if anything? Because that's a real threat to what you guys do right now is the latest version of whatever LLM comes out from Google or whatever else.
100%. And I think that like one thing that we haven't really touched on is that where this business actually began was we were creating these monetization tools or automated calls to action that are inserted into like article content. So when you publish a piece of content or an article on your site, it's really important that you then start to optimize it for conversion. So you start to insert calls to action and different engagement tools to get users to, like, although they're reading an article about, content marketing, that they know that like Captain is a solution or the product for the problem that they're looking to solve. So we created this entire sort of suite of tools that are automatically injected into content to get users from that article to the destination. So a lot of the performance, we then get performance data from that, right? So when a user lands on an article and they start clicking on our different calls to action and they start playing the podcast that we create and start to like sign up, download lead magnets that we inject into the article, etc., we get a lot of performance like data from the back of that. So we get to see like what articles or the topics that users are most engaged with. And that's actually the data that's fed back into the engine that defines the content strategy. So for us, it's like the actual content creation component, you're absolutely right that's not something I'd ever want to just like hang my hat on, to be like, this is like, we are going to be just the content creation engine. it just so happens that like content creation is a component of Captain, just as a result of us having these tools that are injected into the content, the strategy that can be created. It was an obvious next step to say, well, like, shit, now that we're doing all that, we might as well allow users or customers to actually create the content. So that's really where we're like, what we're sort of like hanging our hat on. And I mentioned earlier, you know, things like we automatically, like in an instant, the second an article is published, doesn't need to be published from Captain, can be on any, like your website, you could have created it anywhere. The second that article like lands, is published live, our engine will automatically convert it into a podcast and a dialogue podcast. So two people having a really conversational discussion about the topic and the contents of the article. And we also do like automated voice cloning. So like you can just sit there on Captain, 30 seconds, you can just sit and chat about the weather, about you know, how much you love your dog. We just need to hear like, you know, how you speak and your sort of personality behind your tone. And then we'll get your voice, clone it, and you'll have like a host and a guest, and you can be the guest or the expert, and you'll have this really engaging discussion. And I mean, you might be absolutely surprised, shocked, scared, laugh at it, like as in like where it sits being a professional sort of podcaster, but it's honestly incredible. Like the quality is off the charts. I mean,
I think that's a future of some podcasting too, is just, you know, it's really smart thoughts, and it's a bit scary with it. I know a great use case I would always do is, if right as we're doing this, as soon as, you know, whatever, it's a plugin, no matter where I record this or whatever tool it goes through, if it could automatically just, like, this is our automation AI, if it could take original content, like being like, I think the technology in the future would be smart enough to know that this is an original conversation. I think you can figure it out now, but to know it in real time, because without it, you would be like, hey, we can't really use that because it's recycled AI. Like, you know, anyway, the point being is you take original content and immediately plugs in, and then a minute later, your blog's written, the posts are out, it's already promoting it, it's already got it on an ad schedule. It's like, we're good. It's off. Like I don't need a team for that. I need a credit card.
That's right. And I mean, like, I suppose in our sort of world, it's our goal in the sense to like create content that's engaging, that helps like promote your business and your brand using different mediums. So like audio is so powerful, and we've really focused a lot on audio over the last couple of months. But we're not trying to claim that like we are, you know, it's like coming to you, Tom, and saying like, you don't need to do this anymore. Like, we can take it, because it's not a replacement of this, but it's very much like a scalable way to make the content that you're already creating like really engaging.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's the gotchas in this? Like, what's the, okay, you know, don't ever do this though while you're using your technology specifically. Like, we won't talk about the others, but what should people never do
with Captain?
Yeah, when they're using it, like what is this will ruin your content. This would not work well if you're thinking this, and a lot of people go to this. What would it be?
I mean, look, I've seen some like customers just literally like trying to put it on autopilot. Like, we don't allow you just to like publish without reviewing, but I've definitely seen people just like click, create, publish, click, create, publish, you know, just doing this like the little triangle, just like, and I'm just seeing that they're just like publishing content without reviewing. So I don't think that's like specific to our product that you shouldn't do, but I think just generally speaking, it's like you shouldn't go into any product or anything when they say like fully automated and AI and everything, like. Mm-hmm. You're still going to have to get your bum off the seat and actually still do something. So I think that's often a bit of an expectation, like now with AI, is that people do feel that it should be like cheaper and they literally shouldn't have to do a thing. And
yeah, well, that's not going to work, because that's the people that will fail. How do you guys get past the AI auto checkers? And what I mean is, I think they're a lot of people, you know, I think some algorithms sort of pick up if it's AI written or not. And which I question this because I've flat out have written posts and it said AI wrote it. And I'm like, I don't write that well for it to say that. Like it's 98% AI written. I'm like, because I used good sentence structure and word choice. Like I have to put the word like, so like I have to do things that would never do. Like, so
they put the American Constitution into this and it came out that it was by AI. Yeah.
Maybe it was. That was
the aliens. So I mean, look,
wouldn't that be funny? Like if the whole history of the world was actually from the past, is actually from the future, and we just wrote it. We went back in time to rewrite it to get to the effect of where it is, and we later learn, and that's when we have the serendipitous moment. We're like, well, shit.
We are in a video game. We are just characters in a video game.
We are just NPCs.
So I take those sort of like legitimacy checkers with like a grain of salt, but it's important that obviously like the content is humanized, and we have spent like an outrageous amount of time in fine tuning the output. Like every time I see or hear the word delve, it literally like sends shudders down.
What about transcends into the what is the tapestry of the landscape of which it dwells in, and the nature of it derives
and revolutionizes. So there's some dead giveaways. If you've been in AI for, I don't know, not even long enough, just somewhat, you start to literally see how like you'll see AI like in an instant. And for us, we've blacklisted like specific words because we just like it's just not right. So and that's really like why we spent so much time on those inputs. Why we encourage everyone to send out links to get experts' perspectives and get contributions from.
And that's a great way to keep it. So it's wouldn't be because that should be, unless they used AI, of course, to write that. But anyway.
No, they've got to do it audio. That's the beauty of it. So you have to speak it unless they've got some like audio.
Unless they're reading it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I delve into the tapestry of the landscape. I'm going to read an AI. All right. So guys, if you do a quote, just come up with gibberish. It's fine. It'll be better accepted and read better. So this is going to be the hardest question I ask you for sure. Who do you want to get a hold of you?
What do you mean?
Right, you don't know your market. That's great. Good job, guys. No, so who do you want in this thing? So like pick one. Who are you going to help best tomorrow if they call you?
So look, my like sole purpose with starting this, and I think I just can't shake it, is like I want to help startups. I've been like a failed founder numerous times. I've built like many businesses, spent like lots of money on my own like previous businesses, and even like with this business, you know, I understand like how hard it is, and I understand how hard marketing is. I've been doing marketing for now like 18 or 19 years, and it's really hard. And I think for like the large majority of like small businesses or startups, you know, the founders are typically experts in the industry or vertical that they're starting the business. They're not experts in marketing and sales, right? So it's like I worked for a number of like fintech startups, and you know the founder was an expert in art buying and finance because it was an art investment platform, or they're an expert in investing in farmland and real estate investing and all this sort of stuff. And what I consistently saw was like they understand like how that element of the business works, but not how to actually grow it and scale. And something I've been kind of like preaching for some time now is that it's just never the best product or service that wins. It's the best marketing. So you can have the best product in the world, right. But if nobody knows about it, then it's dead in the water. But it's really hard. So for us and for me, like it's generally just like startups with little to like no team that we are sort of like, you know, focused on really helping. But again, then we'll get the big guys like, you know, the NASDAQ $2 billion company come knocking on the door and we don't even have an annual plan. and they're like, well, can we just pay an annual plan? It's like,
yes, you can. The answer is yes. It's just,
of course. I mean,
because whenever a company comes to you, all of a sudden your $100 a month plan just became $4,000, and you're like, no, it's less than an employee. It's super helpful, and we give you great support. And now you're like, let's sell more of those, because they don't. Here, I'm going to give an entrepreneur advice, and you can do this faster than you think, entrepreneurs. You can sell a corporation an annual license if it has the value of being less than it would be to hire an employee, and that what you do or your service or product does more than what that employee or a couple of employees could do. So there's immediate value proposition. The CFO could be like, oh, we don't need those 2 hires. We have this outsourced company. Awesome. I saved 2 hires off the books. Here's your budget. Have at it. Here's the thing. They're not emotionally attached to that money. It's just a budget. They get to keep their job. They're emotionally attached to not even their job. It's to what their job provides, which is a salary, which allows them to have fun on the weekends. That's what people in corporations care about. Now, an owner, a founder, same suit, different pocket. Oh, the money's thought of differently. Like, well, if I take money and give it to you, that means I can't pay myself or an employee. So the point is, I think you go after the NASDAQs with this thing all day long and just get annual contracts, learn from them, and keep, they don't. Specifically, if I fast forward 10 years for your company and you could say, hey, we have a model that doesn't look outside the model. That way you can put all your data into it. And then that way it's not, your stuff's not being shared. And the point is that'll become a part of AI in the future is non-publicly shared LLMs that allow you to do the same things with your own thoughts and brand. And that way people can't copy it and your stuff's not out there in any way for anyone else to copy. So,
yeah, well, maybe we get that. Because we have this we have this research hub that we call it on the platform, which allows you to upload different docs, PDFs, whatever information you've got from your company, dump it in there. Because when you're creating content, our engine will sift through it and pull out
relevant facts or things you've said that's okay to be in there, right?
That we often get how closed is this? How private is this? And the answer is to an extent, but the minute it's a piece of that content is pulled out and pushed into some LLM, then somewhere in that weird wonderful space it probably exists.
For what you're describing, though, I think that's a great piece where, and we'll probably end with this, is that if you can capture a secure area, so to speak, of only consider data and reference studies and other things from the content we've provided in whatever the folder, that area. Only do not pull any external references out if it doesn't exist here. I think a lot of people like that'd be great because that way they're not having to fact check a number from something that they didn't themselves provide. And that way they can then use the original content that's feeding it plus that stuff and any quotes that gets brought into it. Then you got something that actually creates super good value with that. So I like that. I'd sign up for that. That's why you're going to give me a code to get in. It's going to be great. Richard, if there was a question I asked you today, or I should have asked you today, and I did not, what would that question have been?
Oh gosh, that's good, isn't it?
It is. It's delicious. Here, one. While you're thinking, hold on a second here. Ready?
Well, now. Oh, okay, yeah, I've got that. No, it's like, why'd you choose the US?
Yeah, that is a good question. Why'd you choose US?
I do get that often though, because I obviously born and raised.
Sydney's pretty awesome.
Sydney's awesome. And I spent 5 years in London and a year in Japan. And then I did 4 years in Dubai. And then I came to the US. I came to the US just with one-way ticket, sort of no plan 10 years ago. And I then met a girl after a year. And then, the rest is history.
It's like the Princess Bride. Love. With love.
Yeah,
or is that Leon Phelps? Is that the ladies' man? Is it not unlike and not that it's unlike? If you don't know that quote, that's look up the ladies' man. And he's like, what is love? Just search ladies' man, what is love, and read. Or actually watch that YouTube video, people, and you're gonna be like, holy, and you're gonna laugh. And you're gonna be like, that guy's funny.
Well now. Yeah. But wife and 2 kids later. So that's why I look. And the US is amazing, right? In the sense of how you can build a business here. It's they say the land of opportunity, and I've questioned that in numerous ways because I look at California taxes and property tax and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like, is it? But
here to Georgia, it's a lot cheaper to live. State income tax is completely reasonable, and we're not near the beach, which I think you can get your head around. You lived in London.
Yeah. But look, it's amazing. You you can go out and raise money on good ideas and a bit of personality, and you can throw it at an idea that you've got and hopefully make something of it. So it's pretty incredible for that. So
awesome.
Yeah, man.
Richard, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna put you in the periwinkle room here in a minute and say goodbye to everybody, but thank you for coming on today.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Let's get this up one more time. We're gonna fade out with you. Here we go. We're gonna show you. There you are. He's right there, coming in steamy from Alabama and Paris. Thank you, by the way. ContentCaptain.io. Richard, thank you so much for coming on. Listen, guys, thanks for listening today, watching. The tool is amazing. It really is. You got to dive in and at least try it. And I think they have some really good offers. And if I'll put it in the show notes if he has some stuff there to go try it out. But Content Captain, do a lot of the work for you that you're piecing together. And if you have teams, they can kind of come together with some certain ideas. So get in, small learning curve, have fun with it. Until we kind of meet again, I want you to get in, get out there, go unleash your entrepreneur, cut the ties, anything that's really kind of holding you back. I know I say that a lot, but you got to really look at it within yourself of what is holding me back? What fear do I have? Is it money? Is it just, I don't know, what's my parents going to think? Who knows? Just get over it and get out there. Go unleash your entrepreneur. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Never Been Promoted podcast. If you liked today's show, subscribe at youtube.com/@neverbeenpromoted. Until next time, get out there and go unleash your inner entrepreneur.
Thanks again to InstantlyRelevant.com for producing the show, all the social media, all the content, posts, articles, everything. Could not do it without you. InstantlyRelevant.com. Check it out. They're awesome. Once again, InstantlyRelevant.com.